Hey everybody, I am Kendra Lust and you are on Beauty and the Beast podcast with my co-host Julian Marquez, and today we have a very special guest with us. I'm sure you all know of him. I wasn't going to do this whole name the accolades, but let's just say he's a former Bellator welterweight champ and an incredible wrestler. Let's welcome Ben Askren to the show. How are you today, Ben?
What's up, guys? I'm doing pretty well so far today, and I've had a really busy week. Obviously, it's been about a week since the Jake Paul thing was announced, and it's I guess kind of like the last time I retired. It's like I have my regular life. I'm doing what I'm doing, and then all of a sudden this thing comes up. It's like, oh, okay, well now I got to fit this into my day also. So it's like, how do I plan everything, and then these interviews, and just kind of getting everything rolling. But today's kind of like the last super crazy day, and after this, I think everything's gonna fall into place.
What have you been doing since this whole time before like Jake Paul announcement, like training wise? I know that you have your wrestling academy and you probably roll around with some of the guys here and there, but when you retired, I thought you were going into commentary. I wasn't expecting you fighting. Like what?
Me neither. Well, I mean, so he called me out. That was what changed, and it just was the right opportunity. But yeah, so okay, I had hip surgery in September. So you're right, my hip was bad. I always show people because the scar grosses them out.
Ooh, we like that.
Oh,
yeah. So I had my hip done. So when I retired, I couldn't really train. I was doing like a little bit of yoga and riding a bike, and that's like it. And then when I got my hip done, it was like nothing. You can't do anything for 6 weeks at all. And then when I got done with the 6 weeks, it was, again, like I could start like riding a bike a little bit and stuff. And so really that was like in December, it was like, hey, I've been retired. I haven't been able to do anything for 3 months because of my hip surgery. I needed to like do something to get back in shape, start working out. So I had kind of like started working out, not like I'm training for a fight, just like working out like a regular person.
Like a regular person.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
Like normal people, right?
Yes. I mean, Julian, I'm sure you work out different when you have a fight coming up than when you're like, a week after your fight. It's just different levels of intensity, for sure. So yeah, so then Jake Paul called me out, and I said, yeah, whatever. It's it's not like I'm boxing Mike Tyson. I'm boxing a effing YouTuber. Sure, why not? Sounds like something fun. I already needed a reason to start training. I already needed a reason to get in shape and lose some weight. Why not? Let's do it.
I thought you had your hip surgery. It was in 2020 or was it in 2019?
September of 2020. No, September of 2020. Yep.
Oh wow! So you haven't really been able to like train for a while.
Yeah. So I mean, the problem was, so I retired again in November of 2019. If I would have known Corona was going to happen, I would have had my surgery in March. But I knew there was like after my surgery, I knew there was like a 3-month window where I like couldn't do much at all. And, run the wrestling academies. We're busy all summer. And so I asked them for like the first date after like August 10th or something. And they gave me September 1st. So that was kind of the plan. And then when Corona hit, it's like, oh, damn, I wish I would have done it like March 14 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
that would have been perfect. So that was the plan. And then, obviously like 3 months, couldn't really do anything, was like, on crutches. I was on crutches for maybe not quite 6 weeks, but pretty close.
Jeez. Yeah. So what type of, I'm curious, just because when I first got out of nursing school, my first job was on an ortho floor, and holy cow, like it's intense. Mm-hmm. And I know they've probably come a long way being, I don't know, 9-10 years now from the way that they did it. But what type of surgery, if you don't mind me asking, I'm just curious because that's a gnarly scar. Like that is long.
Yeah, I will,
you're like,
it's called Birmingham hip. They invented it in like mid 2000s. I actually was just the Undertaker had the exact same surgery on the exact same hip. He was just talking about it on Joe Rogan, and it was really funny because like he was describing everything he was talking about. Like applied to me. Where I had pain there for so many years, and I woke up the next day and like I had no pain, like in my hip or not in my back, and I'm like, well, that's weird. Well, I'm on pain pills, maybe that's why. And then like the pain just never comes back. And it's like, holy shit. Like you didn't realize how bad of pain you were in because it was just like what you dealt with. It was what you woke up with every day. And so, man, I mean, I could sleep in one position. That's it. For many years, probably 3 to 5 years, I could sleep in one position. And so just not even athletically, because I'm not being athletic anymore, but from like my everyday life, it's such a difference. It's crazy. And it was just one of those things that it just progressed over time. And so I never really realized how bad it was until I got it fixed. And I'm like, oh God, this is what I'm supposed to feel like.
That's usually how it goes whenever you're obviously been a competitor since you were a little kid. You're always competing. So you just always rub dirt in it. That's always everyone. They say that rub a little bit of dirt in it. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You don't realize it till after you have that like life-changing surgery. You're like, oh, wow. Like
for sure.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're able to move easier now?
Oh my God, so much better. If I would have known the result, right? If I would have known like how much better it was going to be, which it was so much better than what I even anticipated, I would have done it like right away. When I retired for the first time in November of 2017, I would have done it right then, like literally right away. Because just like I said, everything. I mean, I had to sleep in one position for 3 to 5 years. I could only sleep one way. It was terrible.
Oh, wow.
And you could feel that in your fights and stuff like that, or what? Adrenaline, a hell of a drug.
Yeah, I think it wasn't that type of pain. It was like that smaller chronic pain. And then for me, I would say the worst thing athletically was the range of motion issues. Like in wrestling, for example, you squat down. Oh, you squat down and like this. I can put my knee to my chest. Like, I couldn't get it past 90 degrees there. And so like when I was lowering my level, I couldn't get my knee close to my chest where you would want to be. And so just like a whole bunch of range of motion issues, when you're in someone's guard and you want to like get your butt low to the ground, for example, like I couldn't get low. Right. So there was a whole bunch of just range of motion issues that were just really limited to what I could do.
Well, that's unique. And I mean, watching you since I was a kid wrestling at MU and stuff, you definitely had a very unique style no one could figure out. So I could see why you needed your hip, why you needed that movement. You needed those rolls. What is the Askren rolls? The biggest thing that MMA people have taken. Like our gym's taken the Askren roll where you grab the ankle on a double leg and roll through. Mm-hmm. You think that's like where it's kind of started whenever you started bringing that funk style to it, where it kind of
yeah. So you're talking about like my hip pain and hip issues?
Yeah.
Well, I always saw all the wrestlers with hip surgeries, and I thought, like, shit, if they had to do it like with some of the stuff I do, this is not gonna go very well. But I do remember, like, all the way back when I was a little kid, one of the doctors said my hip was kind of misshapen, also, and like, I didn't think about it for a long time, but now, thinking back, there's probably something genetic there that was an issue, also. But yeah, I'm sure all the stupid shit I did when I was wrestling didn't really help the case at all.
Well, I was going to say it's a good thing. I mean, fighting, Jake Paul, that you're not really going to need that much strength or, really, I think it's going to be more fun for you. In all honesty, I did my homework on this Jake Paul, and I'm not a fan at all.
Nobody is.
He's just, when you tweeted that thing, most hated man in America, I'm like, this kid's a douche. Like, he is a douche, and I get it. It's part of his persona, but I really think part of him is really like that. So it bothers me, the fact, I don't want to keep talking about this guy, but he just irritates me. I cannot wait. And even my little one said, she goes, I can't wait. I mean, she likes him, but when she heard I was interviewing, she said, I can't wait for him to knock him out.
Nice. Really man, so I got this. I don't know if you guys saw my punching bag. Let's see if I don't know if you
Yes.
Okay, so I got this Jake Paul punching bag, but it's at my wrestling academy. And it's a distraction. I should probably take it down and it's gonna be a lot of work to take down and put up every single day. But man, these kids yesterday, I'm gonna try to show you this.
His face looks bad.
Listen, look at these kids. They want to maul Jake Paul.
Oh, that's amazing.
I didn't tell them to do that. They just like saw him and they're all just punching him. Like nobody liked him.
You got a whole bunch of support right there that are definitely will. If Jake Paul comes with a group of people to try to jump you, you got the worst nightmare for him right there.
Absolutely, all the little kids freaking attack him.
I keep jumping over Julian. Sorry, go for it. Oh no, go ahead. We'll go back and forth because I have all these questions and sometimes I just don't want to share my guests.
That's all good. I love him. You can ask him, throw him out there. Jake Paul, whenever you got this fight, all right, because like we all know that it started coming out. He called out Ben, he called out Connor, he called out Dylan. He started calling everyone out. And next thing you know, like people were legit like, oh, Ben Askren's gonna fight. Ben's gonna fight him. And I'm like, I didn't know anything at all. I thought you were retired. And then all of a sudden things switched and we got dates, we got announcement, multiple dates we had.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of curious on that process because you're still under contract because you technically the UFC doesn't like let you go unless I don't really know.
They don't. Like, if you're retired, it's just frozen. And I think to the point, it's like, well, why would they let you go? Because they have no, since it's frozen, they have no obligations to me. So it's kind of whatever. Yeah. So I have a good relationship with Hunter Campbell. That was the one that I mainly talked to prior to the stuff. And yeah, it was annoying because Triller was there. We went through a few different dates before we actually came to one that worked for everybody. But yeah, they were, I mean, I know this, I don't want to speak for everybody. I've had really good experiences with Hunter Campbell in the UFC. Obviously I had my beef with Dana for a very, very long time, but it's been really good the last 6 months, year or so.
So does the UFC, since you're still under contract with them, they're releasing you to take this fight, do you still have to be frozen with them, or do you have to pay a percentage out, or do they market, or how does that work?
I don't know. I think it's just a waiver. Like they just said, hey, we're giving you permission for this event, or I don't remember the exact language right now.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So then you have that. Is the UFC pulling for you? Because I feel like all of our fans are legitimately, they want you to knock him out. They said they'll wipe everything, your history clean, or whatever it was. You came into the UFC and then you turned out to be like everyone. There's portions either people loved you or people hated you.
Yeah,
it was always both. And then as like time went on, people were like, "Wow, this guy's like very intelligent. He speaks well." He's like, "Wow, I actually really like him." So you started pulling to become the fan favorite. Now you are literally the world's favorite.
How does that be the world's hero if I beat up Jake Paul because nobody likes him? So I'm in a good spot. Listen, Dana and I have a good relationship, so I don't want to bring up any old issues. But I think a large part of the narrative that UFC fans held against me for a large part of my career was they were just repeating what Dana said about me. And not all of that was true, and that a lot of UFC fans don't do their research past what they hear, and he is very convincing when he says things, and so I think that was a big part of it. And when people got to like really know me, and when they heard me, it was like, oh, okay, I like this guy, I'm entertained by this guy, that type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely agree on that. The fans will always switch. I mean, you were once the most hated person in the UFC. Now you're the most likable. And it's just the fans just kind of go wherever, the water leads them. And with the world talking negative on Jake Paul, you're the hero. You know what I mean? Like,
Boy.
And how is that, like that whole situation with him? Because have you ever really had like a conversation? Because I see him like trying to slide in your wife's DMs,
that was funny. We worked him over on that one. I'm actually thinking about tweeting him again, saying something like, hey, why don't you like follow my wife again and maybe send some awkward messages trying to hit on her like you did, because she gained a lot of followers, so that was cool. And I think you kind of embarrassed yourself, honestly.
How do you see that? Like, do you think that's like acceptable, in trash talking and like build up? Do you think it was all marketing, or do you think like, because he did that with Connor as well, and he did it with Dylan Dennis's girlfriend. Like, do you think that's acceptable for fighting like beef and creating like that type of tension?
That's below the belt, I think. But I'm just saying, I mean, I'm not mad. I mean, hey, all the ladies are pretty, right? I mean, if you see a nice shiny car, you're going to compliment it's a nice shiny car. I mean, I get it, but it's like below the belt. Like he's not a pro. Okay. He's a YouTube.
And so I think everyone has to develop their own level of comfortability with what you're going to say. And I'll go so far. I mean, I want to get underneath people's skin, but I'll only go so far. And, for like, for example, I wouldn't do Connor religion. I don't like religion. I don't like family. I don't like that type of stuff. I'm out on that. Right. But like Connor used it. And I would actually say Connor, now obviously didn't work on Khabib because Khabib is like a robot or something. But Connor's trash talk worked on Jose Aldo and Dustin Poirier the first time.
Yeah.
You remember a big part of why he won was because he got those guys riled up and they made bad decisions. And
got in their head.
Yeah, obviously that's what Jake Paul's trying to do. And so I always say I learned this lesson at a very young age. When I was 15 years old, I don't know. I think I think you're a little older than me. And I think you're maybe a little younger than me. I'm not sure. So I'm 36. So when I was in high school, that was like the advent of message boards. So Julian probably doesn't know what those are.
Are you kidding me? I was all on them. I still
were on message boards.
Yes, I was on message board. I was on it all.
All right, fair enough. Okay, so there were these things called message boards. And I was a sophomore in high school, and I'm on these message boards, and I was a wrestler, right? And all these people were talking all this shit. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like this. I'm gonna kill this kid at state next week. Blah, 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 blah. You know, and I was 15. I was just talking trash. And it got into like the main newspapers in Wisconsin. It became this big story. And then I just became like, everyone hated me. And, you know, most of them were adults. And so like I understood this group mentality and how petty people are. And I got to understand that at a really young age. So it gave me a great perspective on, you know, how those group dynamics work and how people, especially when it's anonymous, they like being extra petty. People will be petty, but when they can be anonymous, they are like rabid dogs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I learned that from a young age. So it's kind of like never let anything rattle me. And that was that.
That's actually a good mentality right there.
I do. And I think too, you know, so many, I think just athletes in general or just people in general, you know, if people can get to your, you know, I guess when it evokes emotion and it affects your game, you know, your ability to perform, then, I mean, obviously you need to rethink, I guess, how you are as a person, because I mean, it is good. It's a way to, you know, get into your opponent's head. However, I don't know that it's always, people don't do it tactfully, I guess, you know, so there's a line, definitely.
I mean, absolutely. If you look at, like you said, Conor McGregor, when he fought Jose Aldo, like he was in his head so much, he made Jose do something he's never really done before. And he just sprinted out at Conor. And
right. Because if you think Jose was traditionally more of a counter puncher and more, you know, wasn't super aggressive. And then all of a sudden, like you said, he like lunged at him right away. And I was like, whoa, like we haven't really seen that. And obviously it worked against him.
Emotions, it does bring that out. So yeah, I mean, I do agree with you that it shouldn't be like there's a line you shouldn't cross. And I don't know. He hasn't been in the game for a long time. Again, he's a YouTuber. He's just trying to make up a lot of you know, fans, a lot of like tension, try to be funny, try to be cool, do what the kids nowadays. But the thing is that I don't think he realizes that you're a competitor and you've been a competitor. And besides, like, I don't know how your stand-up is when it comes straight boxing. I know you have Duke in your corner. You've had him for a while, which is a remarkable, you know, striking coach. Like I've always loved Duke. And the thing is that I know he's a smart coach because he's not going to teach you how to be the most effective striker in boxing and in MMA because your wrestling is superior to obviously everyone. I think the only person that you couldn't take down in all your career was Jay Heron.
Yeah, right? I got 48 rounds out of 51. I got takedowns. So, you know, my whole focus with striking in MMA was how do I get to the body, right? How do I get inside the punches and take someone down? And like you said, Jay Heron, and Jay Heron he was a good fighter and he was a really solid wrestler as well, right? And that was, I want to say my eighth MMA fight in my career or something. So yeah, that was a really tough fight for me. But he was the only one that obviously the one running against Masvidal, I didn't take him down. I didn't have a lot of time to do so. I was cut short, unfortunately. But besides that, I was, you know, I got them all, got everyone except Jay.
I love how you laugh, your ability to just, and I think that's one of the things I admire most about you is you laugh at yourself. And I can kind of relate because I have to laugh at myself with some of the things that I get. I think you have to come up with something more original, like this comment really, come on, you know, so your ability to just have fun and take light of the situation is awesome. But, you know, with Masvidal, I mean, no one would have expected that. And I mean, he would have, I don't know, that's just outrageous. Like a horse would not have been able to, you know, take that. So yeah.
Well, you actually, in the Jay Heron fight, I do remember he caught you with a knee as well, and you took it. You've taken some shots. Don't get me wrong. In your career, you've taken some shots. So, like in boxing, I don't feel that Jake has the type of power to be able to put you out. And I feel like you being a collegiate wrestler, if you were to clinch up with him in the clinch and just wear on him and tire him out, and him getting into the later rounds, it builds in your favor because, he may have wrestled a little bit. He may spar, people that aren't at the level that you've competed at. And I feel as if like that's the way your game plan is. I don't know if that it is, but to drag it out longer.
Yeah, definitely not very hard. Yeah, so I got rocked one time in sparring or MMA, in a fight. It was George. Unfortunately, I'd never ever have been rocked besides that with any shot. Yeah, and so with the boxing thing, I don't think he's gonna rock me, but I'm not gonna stand out there and play Rock'em Sock'em Robots with him. I'm gonna plan on having a smart strategy. Obviously, clinching will be a part of the strategy. But I'm really looking forward to. I've never boxed to be a boxer, right? Like I said earlier, I boxed to be a mixed martial artist, and so even like yesterday, I went in for my first mitts and training session. I was doing all strength conditioning like last week, so. I've only had this fight for 10 days or something, so it hasn't been a long time. And it was like, well, I do this for MMA, and I was working with my coaches at Rufus. And, I do that. Oh, well, yeah, I see why I do this for MMA, but yeah, obviously this doesn't make sense for boxing. Okay, I got to change this. Okay, I have to change this. And it was just like, thinking through all the different situations and why you do certain things. And, for me, a lot of the wrestling came so natural. Like where I put my hands on someone when I touched them, it was almost like, well, why do I do that? Oh, yeah, I do that because I'm about to do this and snap down and whatever, right?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And I understand it because I've done a little bit of boxing in boxing gyms and everything, and it's super weird because you're in an awkward stance. You're square because you're wrestling and everything in MMA, but when you're boxing, you can blade off and like people can try to.
Yeah, that's weird.
Like, wow, that's so it's awkward.
Yeah. Almost like how, because to your point in mixed martial arts, you're a little more open because of the things. And yesterday, they're having me really turn my chest, and it was like, wow, this is weird because I've been doing stand-up MMA and I've been doing it, more square forever. And now, you want me to turn, and I'm sure I'm going to be able to do it. It's just going to take some getting used to.
Yeah. How is that preparation going though? Like, obviously it's been a couple of days, but going there, how does that compare to, like MMA style training where now all you have to worry about is going to practice and worry about standing up? Like you don't have to.
It's different, right? So much more simple.
Yeah, it is. Although, well, I'm not going to quote this guy anymore because he's just under my skin. Apparently I would not be good. I would not be good under pressure. I would be an emotional fighter. So it's a good thing I'll just stick to, what I do best. So, I don't know. I've heard a few people from the boxing community say that he's making a mockery of boxing, and Canelo even said, hey, I'd like to have him come visit my camp and really show him what boxing is about. So I don't think you have a lot to worry about. However, it is not an insult. It takes, one good shot. That's the thing I always think, like just for somebody to catch up, but you definitely have the chin on you. So obviously I'm rooting for you, and we know it's good.
I do think it's interesting that boxers do seem to be put off by, other non-boxers getting paid to do boxing. And it is an interesting thing, but, and it kind of goes back to the MMA, which, there are certain fighters who are really, really good, who are totally unmarketable. And so they'll see someone who is of a significantly lower skill level getting paid way more, and they'll be, that's bullshit. I'm better than that guy. And, part of understanding what life is like in 2021 is understanding what people will pay for. And boxing, for whatever reason, and I can't really explain why. I think it's because it's so simple and it's just two hands and we're punching each other. But boxing, it's one of those things where people can watch people who are not good at it do it and still be entertained. Like if you wanted to watch someone who sucked at golf, you wouldn't be entertained. If you wanted to watch someone who sucked at basketball, you are not going to be entertained. But there's something about two people trying to punch each other that is really, really entertaining, even if they stink at it.
I mean, we all love watching those like Instagram street fights. So everybody loves fighting.
Thieves.
Everybody loves fighting.
Everybody loves fighting.
But no, it does make sense. I do understand that whole concept. And I actually had this conversation with one of our fighters at Glory that they were sitting there like, you know, they're on a tear. Like no one can stop their takedown. No one can do anything. But like they're not getting any respect. And it's like, well, you're not marketing yourself.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. And there's a lot of people that come in and they market themselves in unique ways. Like you have a unique way. Connor has a unique way. Obviously, Kobe Covington has a unique way.
Yeah.
But if you look at it like Kamaru Usman, whenever as he was going for his run, no one really knew anything about him until he started getting 7 fights in a row where he starts winning. And then he has like these terrible post-fight interviews where he's like, oh, I only did 30%. I only did this. But then people started, you know, talking trash on him. And then they start realizing like, okay, he's actually a way better fighter than we anticipated. And it's like, that's the thing I don't believe in boxing is happening is that people aren't marking themselves out how they should.
Yeah. Well, I would say one of those in MMA who's done a good job is one of my illegitimate children, Sugar Sean O'Malley, for example. Like, I don't really think he's that good at fighting. Maybe like could be top 15-ish. Like he ain't gonna challenge for a belt.
He has decent range, and that's about it.
He's decent. But like, I don't get it because it's not my generation. So sometimes there's things, and I realize like I'm not gonna try to understand why he's so popular. His generation, I understand. He has a massive following, and I'm sure he gets paid adequately because of that massive following. And you know that again, so fighters have to, and this could go for boxers too, right? You have to understand what you're getting paid for is not, unfortunately, right? We wish this could be the case. Unfortunately, it is not only your skill level inside the ring, it is other things that come alongside of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. I'm going to my WWE fan base. I know it's not the same. Okay, it's apples and oranges. But, you know, I think some of the best wrestlers there, you know, for all those kids out there, you know, just aren't good on the mic. And if you're not good on the mic and your marketability level, I still love WWE. Okay, it takes me back. I mean, it's no disrespect to like true wrestling, but it's fun, but it's entertainment and we're going to watch it. But if you're not good on the mic, you're not going to sell.
It's exactly why Brock Lesnar was able to come in. That's why CM Punk was able to come in, is because they are amazing on the mics. They show it real. I mean, you remember the incident with DC after he won the belt from Stipe and he tried to challenge Brock Lesnar?
That was awesome.
And Brock Lesnar walks in and DC got caught off guard because Brock shoved him like he made it marketing. He was not ready. He was caught off guard. And that was probably the funniest post-fight hype right there for a fight.
Yeah.
Like, I wish
that fight never happened. That was really unfortunate that it didn't happen. Yeah, I'm not totally a WWE fan. I mean, I loosely follow it. I understand what's going on.
Can't even talk right now.
I went and did an interview with the WWE Next, which was cool in October, and I got to kind of get a little peek behind the scenes. I might do a match at some point, but
you should. That would be so fun. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so we'll see.
You and Dolph Ziggler, I think, would be a good matchup.
He was a wrestler.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
That's why I think you both would. You guys get into a battle of the hair because he's always about that hair. And you got I remember back in 2008 where you had the Big Ben hair with like big old curls. And everybody wanted that as a kid.
I can't wear it that long anymore.
You can't wear it that long? No, you can't. It gets too heavy.
Yeah, it gets too heavy. I love
to take care of. I think because I'm so busy, it's like you got to brush it and put conditioner in it and et cetera, et cetera.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Well, with this upcoming fight that you have, I kind of wanted to talk to you on the business aspect in your realm because, you know, you've always been smart when it comes to business and financial. I mean, you have one of the best, you know, camps for wrestling in the United States. You're one of the most well-known wrestlers in the United States, as well as you've been on Bitcoin like crazy in the stock market since, I mean, I want to say like 2008 or even before then.
No, I wish. No. I didn't get into Bitcoin until 2017, unfortunately.
So 2017? Yeah. I thought you were talking about
investing. No, I started investing as soon as I finished college in like 2008, but unfortunately not in Bitcoin until 2017.
I have to look and see what it's at because I remember it was like $25.
Oh, really? I didn't know Bitcoin was $25.
Wait, maybe not. $2,500?
You put it. They said in 2008.
Wait a second.
It was like if you put $100 in Bitcoin in 2008, today you have over. I think it was like 2 point something million
Yeah, I mean, well, Bitcoin obviously,
What is that now?
well, there was initially when it first,
2,500.
yeah, it was
That's what it was.
there was no price on it, right? And then the first known transaction of Bitcoin is the famous 2 pizzas deal. So one guy wanted to be the first guy to spend Bitcoin. He said, "Hey, if anyone will get me 2 pizzas to my house, I will send them 10,000 Bitcoin." So he sent someone 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas. So now there's this running joke that how much are those 2 pizzas? And I think the 2 pizzas as of they're like $370 million for 2 pizzas or something.
Yeah.
Something ridiculous. Did you also see that guy that
That's
bought Bitcoin way back when has like billions of dollars in Bitcoin, but he's about to be locked out of his account. He forgot his password.
That's relatively, I don't want to say common, but you got to think about it. Well, I actually I helped Chael Sonnen get into a wallet that he was locked out of. I just connected him with the right people, and he got a handful of Bitcoin back.
Oh, wow.
But when it wasn't worth much, people were not all that concerned about security. And then even like just since 2017, oh my gosh, things have changed so much. It's so much easier to use and to do stuff with. And so, these people who were in it in 2011, 12, 13, hey, so I send you $500 of Bitcoin and you don't think twice about it. It's just this thing that was on a hard drive somewhere or whatever. And then right now, 2021, all of a sudden that $500 is worth, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000.
Yeah.
Now you're like, shit, where's that thing?
Yeah, that's insane. Do you have another investment style that you go with outside of Bitcoin? Are you doing the Dogecoin? Are you doing AMC, GameStop, XRP? Like,
I bought some GameStop last Friday just to say fuck the man. I didn't like what Wall Street was doing, and I had to show some solidarity. So I bought some GameStop just for that, not as a real investment or anything. There's a few other cryptos that I hold, Litecoin, Ethereum, and then I was actually telling you, Kendra, my buddy started. So I got my buddy founded Flow Sports, and he actually left that company, and I got him into crypto, and he's brilliant. And he started this company called Rockfin, and Rockfin has a decentralized payment algorithm. And so every single day, roughly every day, just to make it simple, the Ray token pays out 10,000 tokens to its creators. And so I was one of the very first creators, and the Ray token went from probably 10 cents when I was where I got most of it in 2019 to now it's, between $4 and $5. So, that has grown. And the whole idea behind his concept, he has like 7 patents on the process. The whole idea is that digital networks grow exponentially, and digital networks always screw the creators or who, right? So, or you think about Uber. How much was Uber worth when there was one driver? And the answer is like $0, right? Yeah. And so that driver, they do have to have a first driver or first 10 drivers or first 100 drivers, they have to have that. They get paid in dollars and they cash out. Well, now when Uber has 1 million drivers, those first 10 drivers who were insanely valuable to Uber, they get paid in the same dollars that the millionth driver gets paid in. Yet they bring so much more value to the network. So the
like an angel investor. I don't know.
That's the idea. So the whole idea with Rockfin is that the creators who bring the most value to the network are the first ones, and now you can grow with the network, right? Whereas like with YouTube, it's the exact opposite. The bigger YouTube gets, the more they squish their creators. They say, oh, well, actually, you know what? We were paying you $10 for your content. Now we're going to pay you $7, and you're going to be happy with it, Julian, because what are you going to do about it? Because we're YouTube.
Yeah, just that's how they work. I actually talked to someone in Rockfin 2 years ago. We were talking about doing my videos because I should have jumped into it. Well, I didn't know. He was like, he saw one of my videos that I got like a big old pop from. It was called Beat My Meat, and I was walking in Vegas with 2 T-bone steaks on my stomach, and I would walk up to random people and be like, "Hey, you want to beat my meat?" Glove. Dude, it was hilarious.
Oh my god!
You haven't done that in a while. I beat
I know. I don't know
that one time. Yeah, it was fun.
They talked to me about it, and I looked into it. I thought it was interesting, but like I don't have that consistency in content at the time.
Yeah.
In 2018, I didn't know what I would be doing. Whereas like I thought it would be great for you because you're showing wrestling, you're showing MMA stuff. Like you have your business built off of it. Me, I would be trying to reach for some wild like videos. Like, what am I going to do? It beat my meat. What else do I got?
Yeah. I mean, part of so a lot of people are recognizing this issue, the one with YouTube, and they're trying to solve it in different ways, like Patreon, for example.
Yep.
But one of the things that Rockfin does that I think, in addition to the payment algorithm, it's also $10 and you get anyone on the platform. So it's not like, because to your point, Julian, if you put up 5 videos that people really like and they subscribe for you, and you don't put up another video for 2 months, they're obviously going to unsubscribe because you're not doing anything. Okay. If they're just subscribed to you, like a Patreon type model or Substack, et cetera, et cetera. But if they say, well, yeah, I'm going to subscribe because Julian's got funny videos, so they sub to you, and then they say, oh, well, the Nitty Line Wrestling Club, they have a match, I'm going to watch that, so I'm going to stay subscribed. And then, oh, and Ben Askren does a podcast, so I'm going to go watch that too, right? And so because of the network effect, a lot more people stay subscribed because they can jump and go watch me, or they can go watch someone else, and so you get the benefit of that as well.
That might be interesting to look into a little bit more, because I've known the background, but I didn't realize the tokens. That's where he kind of threw me off at the time. I didn't know what the tokens were. I don't know, because again, cryptocurrency just a year and a half ago was nothing. Everyone was still pushing Bitcoin, but we weren't talking about it. Now today, everyone's on all these different types of cryptocurrency, realizing that it's the best way to invest your money where the banks don't lose it and they don't handle your money.
The banks don't screw you, because that's what the banks do. The banks are not your friend.
No, they're not. There's like 0 interest on your money. It just sits there. So it's no point to even put it there, invest it. Yeah. And I'm learning, obviously.
Absolutely.
What's your thoughts on, last week we were talking about this on the podcast with the whole Robinhood crazy switch. Like, what's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was disgusting. Honestly, I think it's great for cryptocurrency because I think it pushes people to understand even more how far the game is rigged, and how, these Wall Street people, they're so rich. They were going to lose one time. They were going to lose on the Robinhood thing. And they went kicking and screaming. They said, we will not lose. We're going to freaking pull out every single dirty trick in the book. We're going to shut down the Reddit board. We're going to shut down Robinhood sale. We're going to shut down all these avenues so we don't lose this bad. And it was so disgusting. And I think it was great because it was almost this moment of unity for America, where there was no gender, there was no race, there was no religion, there was no Donald Trump. It was just the fucking rich guys on Wall Street trying to screw everyone else. And that was it. And everyone saw it and we got it. It was simple.
Yeah, but the CEO, obviously they were interviewing him, and blamed it on these SEC requirements and all of that crap. Now, is it true that Citadel, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, has a part in Robinhood? And it's okay. So I don't know, I guess the specifics or enough about it, but obviously he had to say something. But so it definitely a bunch of shit, which is
I feel like what a lot of people finally realize is, like, the way to get outside their grasp is Bitcoin. Right? They don't have any control over that. They can't they can't control your Bitcoin. You can send your Bitcoin to him. I can send my Bitcoin to you. And no one has control over those transactions. They're not taking fees on those transactions. That, they're relatively, it's censor resistant. So I think it kind of woke a lot of people up to some of the injustices of the banking system.
No, absolutely. It was one thing that I jumped into Bitcoin and XRP at the beginning of 2020. I didn't put as much money as I did on XRP because I thought Stellar was going to be like this next.
Oh, I hate XRP.
God, I know you hate it, but I've got it at like 5 to 10 cents, and right now it's at 40.
You made some money. Nice.
But it sucks is I watched Bitcoin skyrocket up. I put 500 in Bitcoin, it skyrockets up, and I put 20 in XRP, and it's not really giving me what I'm thinking. But that's one thing is I realized, like, doing all these, like, this investigation on the currency, it's literally internet's gold, and literally I can transfer millions of dollars in Bitcoin from here to Australia with no transaction fees. But with, like, if I had actual gold, I can't. It's going to cost a lot of money to store it, to guard it, and then also to take it from here to Australia. It's going to cost even more money. And
or it's almost. I mean, and if someone doesn't want you to, it's going to be relatively impossible. Actually, the creator of Litecoin, Charlie Lee, we had him on my I have a Funky Crypto podcast on Mondays, and he was literally talking about how his father left China in either the late 1940s or 50s. I don't remember the exact year, but he had physical gold taped to his body, and if anyone would have caught him, he would have been busted. And that was how he had to transport gold from one place to the other. So yes, gold was the hardest money for a while, but now we have a better alternative now.
What do you see like Bitcoin going up to? I've heard people saying millions. I've heard the cap would be around $500,000.
Yeah,
one will be worth.
So the Winklevoss twins pitched the 500,000 idea on the idea that the market cap of gold is 9 trillion, and if you divide one by the other, that's roughly what you're going to get for Bitcoin. But a bunch of others. This is me repeating other people's smart talking points because I try to listen to people who are smarter than me. A lot of other people argue that there's many, many more trillions of dollars in the bond markets, and with a lot of them going negative, which I need to ask someone smart in the financials. I cannot understand why the F you'd buy a bond if it's going to yield negative interest, meaning you pay to hold it. I can't get that one through my head. Doesn't make sense.
It's different.
It's weird. So, if some people, some money from the bond markets and other places or real estate starts heading the direction of crypto because people understand it's the, one of the best assets they can hold, then surely the market cap of Bitcoin is going to go much above 9 trillion. So, yeah, I don't know. Smart people are saying at least 6 digits for this cycle. It is cyclical, like 4 years. It kind of goes up in, waves. So I would say somewhere in the 6 digits for this cycle. And then who knows moving forward.
Holy shit.
That's amazing. I got to connect you with one of my friends from, he actually used to be a hedge fund analyst and CFO on Wall Street. And he's a CFO in a tech company. He broke off, but he does a lot of stock talks and he kind of explains everything down. He's been in it for over 20 years. So he's someone that you could talk to about the bonds, like get a little bit more information on it. Cause again, it is kind of weird how it costs you more money to hold it than to have it. So
it's so weird. Yeah. It's so weird. I don't know.
Makes no sense.
I don't know why anyone would buy negative yielding bonds. That's one where I'm like, I know. So I kind of wish now I went to college for geography because it was easy and I thought I was just going to be a wrestling coach, which I guess I am. But now I wish I would have done like macroeconomics or something. So I had a better understanding of what was going on because now I'm trying to like do the research on my own and figure it out. And
it's even more difficult. That's crazy. I didn't know you went for a geography teacher.
Yeah,
you got it.
I wasn't gonna be a teacher, just geography because it was easy, and I figured I was gonna coach college wrestling.
You have it all figured out. Well,
yeah.
At least you got a degree at MU, and it's working out pretty well for you. You could definitely use that to tell us where places are at and where to mine.
Where to put our money? Where to put our money?
I never get lost.
You never get lost. There you go. That works.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I love it.
All right. You got anything else, Kendra?
Yeah, no. When I said 25, I meant 2,500 because I know. Oh, this guy tried to screw me though. I didn't know enough about it. His name is Sammy. Anyway, long story short, I invested some money. He gave me money in return. Long story short, there was this long thing where I had to access the information for the cryptocurrency. It was like so many passwords to log in. Anyway, he screwed me over. This is another story for another day. I ended up getting the money back, but I don't think it was the real crypto. But it was $2,500 at that time, not $25. I was like, I remember 25 something. But yeah, I should have jumped on that bandwagon a long time ago. But I started investing just a couple years ago, and I do have Robinhood. However, just a little bit, kind of play around with it. But I do have somebody who helps me with my money because I don't know what the hell. That's what I have him for. So, but being more informed obviously will help you. I trust him. However, it's nice to be enlightened and do your homework. And yeah, you never know, right? I don't want another Sammy in my life. So anyway, for the rest of your day, your training, coaching, what do you have on your agenda?
Yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with my daughter for a little bit. My 5-year-old, my 7-year-old's in school, my 3-year-old's napping. Yeah, I have one more podcast, and then I got I'm coaching a private lesson. Then I got to work out myself, and then you guys are going to be appalled at this. This is really embarrassing.
No, I'm curious. I just kind of want to know a day.
My wife has never watched Rocky IV.
What?
Yes. My wife has never watched Rocky IV. What the hell's wrong with her?
Wait a second. I don't know them like which one is which. So which one is that one?
Rocky IV is the greatest of all. That's where he goes to Russia and he beats up Drago.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. He's on the treadmill. Yes.
I don't know that she's seen all the other ones. We were just talking about Rocky IV the other day, and she's like, yeah, she wasn't like getting any of the references, and I'm like, you never seen Rocky IV, huh? And she said, no. And then you know what? Even like 2 nights ago, I tried to make her watch it, and she was like, no, I'm not. I'm watching The Bachelor. I'm like, listen, I've watched enough shit for you over the last decade we've married. You're gonna watch Rocky IV because you're an American, and that's what Americans do. We watch Rocky IV.
We watch Rocky IV every time, and it explains all the rest of the Rocky movies that have been coming out recently. With and what's his name? I just went mind blank.
Michael, the kid that acts that's Apollo's son.
Michael B. Jordan.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Apollo's son. No, that's crazy. I can't believe that she hasn't seen that. Like, is she a movie buff? Or
yeah, she's actually I mean, relatively, right? And so I'm just I'm really caught off guard, but she said that, so I'm gonna try. I'm not a big movie guy, but I'm gonna make her watch Rocky IV tonight after I work out.
I love it. I love all the Rockies. I just don't know which one is which. Which is the last? I don't know if this is the last one. Okay, no. Okay, which one is the last? How many were there? I know there was Apollo. There was then when
Underlips. That was Hulk Hogan.
That was 4, 5, right?
Well, okay, so 1 was the original. Then 2, okay, this is my memory. 2, he rematches Apollo. 3 is I Pity the Fool. Mr.
Yes, Mr. T. Yep. Okay. Yep.
4 is
Dolph Lundgren.
And then 5 is the one that sucks and no one watched it. It was
with the kid he took under his wing.
Tommy Guns, baby.
Oh, that's the one.
That one sucked. And then they've been coming out with these other ones more recently. I don't keep up with them.
Nope.
The Creed ones.
The Creed ones.
Yeah.
You got to give it to the man.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think of his name. Why am I going mind blank now?
Sylvester Stallone.
Sylvester Stallone. His whole story around that movie and what he's turned that movie into to what his career is, that's amazing. I'm with it. I've watched them all. I love them. But I can tell you this right now. I don't know if you're American if you haven't seen the American,
right?
That makes no sense.
Yes. So she's watching it tonight. She'll be more American tomorrow morning.
Let's go.
That's
you
awesome.
Go and put a post on there with an American flag holding up her hands, sitting there like this.
Absolutely. And you guys can follow her at Amy Askren and harass her. This is anyone in the audience. She's actually started getting I don't want to say a significant following. But she's got she's up to 18,000 on Instagram. That's relatively good.
That's insane.
I
wonder if they're going to help out with the real estate business.
I don't know. She did get one. She got one person for real estate last year who was like followed me on Instagram and they saw my wife was a realtor and they called her up and she sold them a house. So that was good.
Hey.
Maybe she'll get more. I don't know.
Networking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love
it. Well, yeah, if you want to give out some shout outs, tell us who to follow, what to do. Just plug them in right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm just at Ben Askren everywhere. And then I have my podcast. So on Monday, I have the Funky Crypto Show. It's we go live on my Twitter. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I do my wrestling podcast with Flow Wrestling. And then I do an MMA podcast with my buddy Brian. And it's intermittent. We try to go every Sunday, but we definitely don't make it every Sunday. So, once in a while, we post that post on Rockfin. And then my vlog is going to kick back up on Rockfin. My guy, John, which is out here filming. So probably, I don't know, 3 to 5 days or so, we'll have another one coming out.